welcome to the Animator's Friend, or whatever the fuck I ended up naming this podcast. I don't know if you know how hard it is to name a podcast. I won't get into every nook and cranny detail with y'all, but it's not easy. Not easy. So for the time being, at the very least, it's the Animator's Friend. And I like that name because I'm the animator's friend. My name is India Lombardi Bello. I am an animation educator at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. And this is a new endeavor for me. I got interested in starting a podcast for animators, about animators, because I get to go to so many film festivals and other kinds of animation events where I'm seeing animators talk about their work, in panels and just any kind of master classes, whatever. But they're always talking only about their work. I feel like animators don't often get the opportunity to talk about themselves and to show who they are just as people. A lot of other creative industries, I think filmmakers, actors, musicians, things like that, there's more of an interest in the people behind the work. So I wanted to create a platform like that for animators because I really love animators. I think animators are the funnest people. They're just more, I think, down to earth than other artists that are out there. And I wanted to, have a space for them to shine, in a different way than maybe they've been allowed to previously. The podcast format for me, I wanted it to be something that's kind of fun. So it's a questionnaire format. There's 24 questions in the questionnaire to symbolize the 24 frames per second of animation that we are all so familiar with. I've pulled questions from my own head, from other questionnaires that exist out there in the world. And I suspect that they will be different every time a little bit. This is the first episode. I'm just getting started with this. I'm sure it'll morph and change over time. But that's where my head's at with it. To give a little testimonial, like I said, it is brand new, not released yet. But with my guest, who I will intro shortly, we were talking, we met up at Hotel Del Mano in Williamsburg to do the interview. And we were outside, we were just yakking away, minding our own business. And this gentleman came up to us while we were talking. He was listening to us because he said he was waiting for his wife and she didn't come. So then his phone was dying. And so he was just like, I'm just going to listen to what these girls are talking about because they're in earshot of me. And we were talking about fixations and AI and all this stuff. And he just was like, it was so interesting. I learned so much. It's just interesting to hear what you guys are talking about and your thoughts on things. You guys should start a podcast. It was so crazy because there wasn't anything obvious about what we were doing to show that we were actually recording a podcast. So, that's what we both screamed. And we're like, we are doing a podcast. So there's already a buzz. And I'm very excited for you all to hear the conversation that I have with my first guest, Kristie Kish. She is an Emmy-nominated director, producer, motion designer / animator, and artist, born and raised in New York City. Her personal work is interested in exploring our relationship to nature using found footage, printed matter, natural materials, and data. Professionally, she works as a freelance motion designer with clients such as Nat Geo Wild, Sci-Fi, and Nickelodeon. She primarily these days is a freelancer at Nickelodeon. Kristie is also the co-founder and co-owner of a ready-to-drink cocktail brand called Mother's Milk.
It is a health-forward cocktail with coconut water, shiso, mint, and vodka. It is available in a few bars throughout New York and also in several stores too in the tri-state area. Based in New York, the big one would be Astor Wines. You can pick it up there. You can follow them on Instagram at Drink Mother's Milk. In addition to being the co-founder and co-owner, Kristie is also like the creative director for the brand too. So she, creates a lot of the content that they use, the visual content that they use for the brand. I know Kristie because she went through, like I said, I work at the School of Visual Arts in the MFA Computer Arts program, and she was a student who went through our program. And in her final year, she was actually one of my thesis students. I teach a thesis research and writing class, and, we just have maintained a friendship after she's graduated. Although the format is pretty flexible, there is basically in the case of Kristie, I sent her the questionnaire in advance and had her, look through everything as she wanted. She said that she only read like half of them, so she discovered most of the questions on the fly when we spoke. But I did reserve one question to be a surprise question, a question that was maybe a little bit more specific to her, something that could evoke a little bit more spontaneous conversation. So there is one surprise question in there. We talk quite a bit about Walla Walla Movie Crush, which is a film festival in Walla Walla, Washington. Kristie, along with some other alumni of our program, attended this summer. They got their films in. I was supposed to go with them as well, but I got COVID, unfortunately, so I had to hang back. So I wanted to get the debrief on how the festival was. So the festival, it's in a famous wine region out west. A lot of film festivals, especially animation festivals, are very focused on European filmmakers and studios. So this is like it sounds like a really cool festival for American filmmakers and animators and people in the industry to come together and celebrate America. And hopefully gonna go next year so that I can see for myself what it's like. There's a portion towards the end where we start talking about Bill Plimpton, but I don't think that there's an obvious lead in for why we're talking about him. I was at Anima Fest this summer in Zagreb, and he was there as well, and he's a friend of the school and the department. So I went to all the things that he was doing at the festival this year. So I was talking primarily about, he did a master's class at the festival that I really enjoyed. I thought he'd give a lot of really interesting advice. So we talk quite a bit about that towards the end of the interview. And then I also do want to note that the conversation happened prior to all of the Nickelodeon layoffs that took place. Kristie, because she's a freelancer, is in a different situation, but I do just want to acknowledge that, I think we're talking about a lot of things about the future of the studio or about mainstream animation, but that conversation occurred before there was this really huge shift in the mainstream industry. So keep that in mind as you're listening. There's a few times in the interview that we bring up the names of people without saying who they are, without providing context for who they are. And generally speaking, I think those are all people that are from the MFA Computer Arts department, whether it's faculty, staff, or students or alumni. So I think any name that pops up that we don't say who it is, precisely that it's somebody that's within our community. And again, since this is in fact my first rodeo, we probably shouldn't have gone to a busy bar to record the podcast, but we did. So there is just some moments of maybe not the best audio clarity, and there is some noise So I apologize. I will be doing much better in the future.
Without further ado, here is my conversation with Kristie Kish. So tell me about Walla Walla in detail. Great detail.
In great detail. Walla Walla was amazing. I kept thinking, well, not that I was comparing it to the Portland Film Festival of Cinema, Art, and Technology, because there's two. There's the Portland Film Festival, and then there's the Portland Festival of Cinema, Art, and Technology. PIFCAT, that's what I just say. I kept comparing it because they really just create a hub for filmmakers, and it's really about the filmmakers for filmmakers, more that than the public, I think, because it's just like there's parties hosted, there's swag, there's interviews, Q&As, panels, workshops and stuff. That's the one in Portland. Walla Walla was definitely smaller, it felt way more intimate. By the end of the weekend, everyone knew each other. And even at the end of the whole weekend, the award ceremony, we all knew each other so well at that point. We would just talk to each other like on the stage, like they'd be at the podium, and we would just yell out to them, and you could hear. It was just so fun, and we just all became friends at that point. In the Q&A, they really like asked a lot about SVA, my education in animation. So yeah, I was never asked that before. Everyone would just ask like either about my process, because it's kind of different, and style, or the meaning behind it all. And so no one has ever asked about like how I learned and like my journey about my academic journey.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kinds of things were they curious about? Just like
They asked like how it was making a film while being in a master's program, and how it helped, or if there were any like conflicting things happening. But no, it was ideal, honestly, especially the way my program is run. I said that it left a lot of room for experimenting, which you'll see in my film is just experimental throw up.
yeah. I wouldn't say throw up. But
A bit. It's like crazy, but yeah, that was cool. And then Warren, the director, plugged in Mother's Milk, which really caught me off guard. I was like, oh, my friends were like, yeah, you were so surprised by the question. I was like, yeah, my head was in animation in my film, not that. So yeah, I was like, thanks, Warren. So, yeah.
And then you've also been busy with starting your Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon too. It kind of the job. I'm a freelance animator for Nickelodeon during the year full time. It's creatively free in a certain way. Basically, they're like, do whatever you want within this small box. But it's still super fun. They like me because I make it weird and funny. So it's fun. It's fun for me.
I remember you telling me about like when you first got involved with the Super Bowl live stream stuff, or I don't know what you call it. What is it technically called?
Live show?
Live show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like you were making things and there were just like eyeballs and just weird, creepy stuff.
Yeah,
that
I would
were, like,
sneak in like
yeah.
just a moving eyeball in like the audience, or like a bird shit on someone's head, and they're just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's awesome.
or even just like an egg cracked up.
Yes.
It's just random. Because I think about Nickelodeon when I was a kid, and what all the crap I would want to see,
Yes.
you know, and the things I liked.
Yes.
This is kind of a deep cut, and I didn't know it was, but maybe that's just my age. Real Monsters. Do you remember that show?
Yes, I do. I feel like I never got like super into it, but yeah, I mean, it's like very weird.
Super weird.
Yeah.
It's like about these imaginary monsters who live in the junkyard.
Yeah.
So weird. But anyway, and that's like a 90s show.
Yeah.
So it's like for us.
Yeah.
And I actually asked my job for Halloween to do a segment of Our Monsters.
Aww.
And they literally had to pitch it to the like higher ups. And they're like, yeah. So they let me do the whole
That's
segment like by myself.
amazing.
But it was so funny because it's from the 90s again. So
Yeah.
it's all flat,
Yes.
2D like Photoshop things, not even a
Yeah.
vector.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to make work on top of modern day raw footage, but it was super fun and
Yeah.
it was a dream come true to work with like that material.
Yes. That's exciting. That's nice.
Yeah.
I feel like you get to do so many fun things across like all different
Yeah.
disciplines.
Yeah.
Like your personal work, your more like slick branding kind of work, and then your animation work that's like tied to probably like what got you interested in animation to
Yeah.
begin with, you know?
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah, it's wild.
So we're gonna dig into the questionnaire now.
Wow. Let's talk about me.
Yes. Question 1. What is your sign?
Oh, I'm a Virgo.
Virgo. I love a Virgo.
Yeah. We're great.
Makes a good friend, you know, just like solid person.
Yeah.
I feel
Down to
like
earth.
Yeah, down to
They
earth.
say.
I feel like chill, happy, like good listeners maybe. You know,
Yeah.
this is like I don't know like if this is like the list that you read off like online, but like just I feel like I have a lot of good like Virgos in my life. I like them. Yeah.
The two things I think like become that Virgos are is like they always say we're practical and or perfectionists, which I never thought I was until I kind of got older. And I also, now that I work with like a business partner and like in a team, I'm like, holy shit, I am a perfectionist. But I always thought I'm an organized mess. Like my room was always a mess, but I know where everything is. So it's like organized in my brain. Yeah. But I think it's useful. I'm glad I'm a Virgo. I'm a proud Virgo.
Yes, I think it's a good quality for sure.
Yeah.
Do you know what like your rising and moon are?
Yes, I'm a rising Sagittarius.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. That's what everyone says. The fire sign.
But also they're just like they're silly.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Cancer moon, which also feels accurate because they're like emotional, alone, and they're like inside their bag of feelings.
Yeah, because I feel like you're extroverted. You're very extroverted, but I also get the sense that you also like need your time to yourself.
Exactly. Is that what a Cancer is? I don't really know much
They like we'll think about like Cancer's. Is Cancer the crab?
Yes.
So like I mean they have the shell. And they're kind of like I don't think that they're like a pack animal.
Wow.
I don't know for a fact, but I'm gonna
Love
assume
it.
that they're not group oriented.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I feel like they're an insular kind
Whoa.
of person.
Exo, yeah. So I don't know, exoskeleton. Are those bugs?
Yeah, they have an exoskeleton. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
And I feel like whenever we're like out together, you're always like you're thrilled to be there, and then when you decide to go, you're like I'm going.
Oh God.
It's
Gotta go.
it's over.
Oh my God. That's so dramatic. Oh, you know what? You know what happens, India? I know exactly what you're talking about. That means I'm really fucked up. And I gotta go home because I'm about to puke. I swear to God. I remember 2 instances with you there where I was like, I gotta go right now.
Well, that's maybe where your Cancer kicks in. You're like, your Cancer's like, not going to be here, not going to puke in the bathroom. No. I'll do this in my own space.
I'm
Yeah.
learning about myself.
All right. Question 2. What have you eaten today?
Ooh. A Trader Joe's chicken tikka masala frozen
I
dinner.
love those. Yeah.
So good.
They're good.
I love TJ's. No
They're
spot.
awesome.
This isn't a sponsored ad. What do they say? Not
A
sponsored.
non-paid ad.
Non-paid ad. Love you, TJ's.
That's all you ate today, though?
Yeah,
Kristie,
I know.
are you hungry?
I'm eating.
She's eating the olives in her martini. have you listened to any music today?
Yes. Sure have. Every day. I don't let a silent moment go by. Have been obsessed with this one song, me and my husband. We've been playing it on repeat. We were obsessed with the song. It's called Love and Affection by Joan Arma. It doesn't ring. It doesn't.
Arbitrating?
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful song. Like, such emotion.
I actually, I think I got to know that song. I was like on a break from like my last boyfriend. We took like a month-long break to just kind of like not speak to each other. And I was listening to that song. I went on a work trip and I was listening to that song in the airplane, and like, I don't remember what she's saying at the end.
Yep. It hits. I don't know what she says is like, holy shit. I don't know either, but
yeah, it's like essentially just saying like, let love in. You know, and I was like, yes.
Oh my god, there's this one moment in the song where it's like, I feel everything. I feel the rain on my fucking cheeks. Why can't I feel? And I'm just like, oh my god. Why can't I feel love? That's what she's saying. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's that and Roy Orbison on repeat in my dreams, specifically in my dreams. I'm like fucking singing it top of my lungs all morning long. But I was inspired after my road trip through the Washington desert. I don't know, just like, this sounds
You were like, this
a
is
vibe.
Roy Orbison country.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so since then, I've just been having those two like only. Also, did you know? I just learned this. You are more inclined to cry on airplanes.
I know this from just experience.
Really?
Yes.
That's so funny. Me too.
Because, like, I think that what really clued me into it was I must have just been experiencing it to a certain degree. But then, like, I was watching, you know, the movie, the Dumbo movie that they did, like, recently that was, like, 3D
Tim
animated?
Burton?
Yes, Tim Burton. I watched that on an airplane, and I like couldn't stop crying, and it wasn't because like anything sad was happening or anything, but like Dumbo, like that animated character was just like so adorable. Oh, really? That it made me just like I was inconsolable.
Oh my god!
But I was like, this is.
They see this lady crying on their plane, and they look over. It's Dumbo.
It was like, yeah, I was like, this doesn't make sense. You know, I was like, this is over the top. So then I looked
Get it together.
I looked it up.
What? What did you look up?
I was like, are people like what you said? Like,
Shut
are people
up.
more inclined to cry
You're like, this isn't natural.
on planes? And
Stop.
and I saw that like it could be one of two things. Did you see the reason or not?
No.
It either has to do with the altitude,
Yeah.
which could make sense, or it's from this is more psychological, I guess, that like it's like in a plane and in an airport you're more out of control than normal.
Whoa.
You're kind of like you're having to really follow very strict rules.
Whoa.
And then especially once you get on the plane and stuff, you're just there, you know?
Yeah. Whoa.
So that it's just like it kind of just like rocks your sense of self or like comfort or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense. It is psychological. I'm into it. I like it. I like the release. I love when I'm like proud of myself when I cry. I used to be like a really hard like stone growing up, and I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
So like now when I cry, I'm like, yes.
Aw, that's good. Question 4. We're only at 4.
Oh no. I love it.
Yeah. What were you like in high school?
Oh,
You just
God.
said you were maybe a stone. Was that in high school or no?
Yep, it was. Sure was. High school. Well, first off, let me preface by saying I went to a large private school in Queens. I grew up in public school, so this fucking sucked, and I hated it. As soon as I got there, I was like, Mom, what the fuck? I'm applying to art and design in the city. And not that she didn't let me, but like, I just had to do it. But I was definitely the outcast. I was the weird one. I feel like I was popular just because I was like different. Like everyone knew. I didn't have friends. I didn't have any fucking friends in high school. All my friends didn't go to the school. They were either weren't in high school or went to an art school. So it sucked for me. I had like dreadlocks under only half my head. So it was like extra gross. People literally would be like, what the fuck is that in your head? I was like a dirty hippie in high school. Truly, like literally dirty hippie. But also scene. Do you remember Scene Kids? I was scene as fuck. I had like that crazy haircut. I had raccoon tails, like dyed stripes. Crazy. Well, actually, in the beginning of high school, I was a scene kid. And then by the end, I was just a full-on dirty hippie.
What was like the crowd at this private school?
Great question. The literal opposite. It was Guido Central. It was all like chicks who were like, I can't even describe it now. Let's just say basic bitches who were gross. Couldn't relate. But I was an art kid. I was the art kid walking around with my gigantic portfolio that everyone always had. That was fun.
What kind of work were you making then? Was it like drawing, painting?
It was drawing. I was drawing a lot. I won the drawing award at the end of my high school time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Another surprise. Yeah. Thinking back, actually, they need some animation classes.
A lot of schools don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my school, because I took like a class like later in my high school that was kind of like, if I recall correctly, I feel like it was like we would focus on like different disciplines every few weeks.
Oh.
And at some point we did video.
Oh.
But I don't know if we did. I don't think we did animation. I feel like I didn't even, well, that's not true. I was going to say I didn't even think animation was an option. My parents really, it's so funny because I just didn't pursue it. My parents really wanted me to do animation. They kept saying, like, you should study animation. I was like, no. And the only reason is because I had such a misunderstanding of, like, what animation was.
Yeah.
And I just made... Even though it's like, I know, even though it's like I knew 2D animation existed because that's just like what was more prevalent growing up anyway. But then I kept thinking when my parents said animation, I kept thinking 3D animation.
Interesting.
Like I kept thinking like, oh, like I'm gonna end up working at Pixar. And I was like, no. And more than anything, I was just like, I knew it was a lot of work, and I was like, I don't want like that's too much work. And it takes like you don't finish anything in the like it takes years, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just like that's what I got like stuck in my head. I was just like, it takes so long, and I was like, no.
You are absolutely right, and that's actually a thing that came up with the Walla Walla Film Festival. But also, I could go on about 3D animation. I'm sorry.
I think 3D animation can be so cool.
Yes, of course.
You can really play around with it. And I'm really into the 2.5D. The mix of 2D, 3D that's happening now because 3D is so tied to reality.
Yeah.
And that's its limitation because if it's not realistic, it gets into an uncanny valley, which I mean some people love.
Right.
But a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people are just like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
So unless it's like really true to life in some way, it gets too weird.
Totally.
So I think now more than ever, there's more options, and 3D can be really cool.
Yes, I think there's a lot of problems you can solve using 3D.
Yeah.
Like 2D problems you can solve with 3D, which is interesting. But the film festival, me and my fellow animators who went realized, oh my God, there's like no 3D animation. And it blew my mind, actually, because it's everywhere. Everything is fucking 3D animation. Even things that you think are 2D are actually 3D, which is insane. It's insane. But I really kind of appreciated that it wasn't like, we're not shitting on Pixar, okay? Pixar is amazing.
Pixar.
Yeah, we love Pixar.
But they should have stopped at Toy Story 3.
Right?
Like not Pixar as a studio, but like as far as far as the Toy Story.
Is there Toy Story 5?
There was 4, and I think they're making 5. But 3 was perfect. Did you see?
Didn't someone die? Like, didn't Woody die or something?
Spoiler alert, they almost died. But it was more that they, it was, for me, I grew up watching Toy Story. And then it was like by the time that the third one came out, I was going off to college, which was what Andy was doing too.
Oh, you grew up with it. We grew up with it.
Yeah. So then it was like the toys and Andy having to reckon with this transition.
Coming of age. That's cool.
And so it was perfection. It was like a perfect ending because it was just like, have you seen it? I don't want to spoil it for you.
4?
3.
This is 3 still? No, I haven't.
You should watch it.
Really?
Yes. It's really good. And just 4 has redeemable qualities, but 3, they just should have stopped at 3, period. Just because it was such a perfect arc.
Yeah. Not a 5. Even Shrek. Shrek 5? You fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen past Shrek 2.
No, me neither. What is 3 and 4? Like, they're babies, I think. I'm not kidding. I think it's about their babies. Whatever. Not my journey. But interesting that you immediately thought about 3D animation from your parents. Because it's true. Like, you don't grow up seeing any experimental animation or any, like, I don't even know, like, anything like that. Any experimental animation at all is not put out to the public like that.
Had I known, it would have all been different.
Right? That's so funny.
Because, yeah, I liked to draw.
Yeah.
Like to draw weird stuff. And that was like, and I think probably that's what my parents were maybe like seeing, and then they knew I had an interest in like time-based stuff because I was doing like video stuff in high school a lot. But then like I couldn't piece the things together. I couldn't make sense of it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the sidelines and I love it.
Not even. You are like in the mix. You should produce or direct. You should produce or direct. Actually, a funny thing that came out of Walla Walla also, one of the interviews, one of the Q&As, this director, she was amazing. She's a director. She was like, I hate animation. She's like, I'm terrible at it. I hate it. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not good at it, but it's my life. And I was like, oh my God, I'm bad at animation too. Like, I suck too. Like, oh my God, I'm not an animator. And I actually ended up like seeing her and we started talking and we were like kikiing over that. And she's like, well, you're a director, obviously. I was like, huh. She's like, you should say you're a director and not instead of an animator. I was like, interesting. And I just it stuck with me and I was like, yeah. Because I feel like I really do suck at animating. Like compared to seeing like my fellow like graduates and like fully, truly like frame by frame drawing these gorgeous,
Yes.
I love it.
They're gorgeous.
Gorgeous, like, sequences. And I'm like, you drew each frame? That's sick. Here I am just manipulating, like, things. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Well, I mean, I think when you're in school, like, you know, obviously you have to, unless you're in, like, a big group project, you're taking on a lot of the responsibility of, like, every aspect. But once you're done with school, you kind of figure out like what's your forte.
Yeah.
And it's like you can really hone in on that aspect of things. Because like when it comes to like obviously like mainstream animation, it's like you're doing a specific thing, but then even like independent animation, there's like a big roster of people that are working on it and doing something pretty specific. So yeah, unless like, I mean, there's like auteurs, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of like Peter Millard. Have you seen his stuff?
You're bad with names.
It's very crude, funny, really simple, but like well done. You know, you'd like it. I'll send it to you later. But like, I'm pretty sure it's just him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and it doesn't need other people. Like, I mean, like the way he's doing it, it doesn't need other people. So like, there's all different ways to animate.
No, you're right. Yeah.
To be an animator. And it makes me think of also what you were saying, like, I'm a bad animator. Like, it makes me think of there's so many, like, funny things that 24 memes per second puts out.
I love that
That is just, like,
I relate. I'm like,
they crack me up.
it's so good. They're so good.
They're
Whoever's
very
running
funny.
it needs a raise. I don't even know if they make money, but
Would love to have a 24 memes per second sponsor. Just saying.
not sponsored, but wannabe.
Okay, question 5.
What?
This is bad. What is your latest fixation?
Fixation?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, it's kind of early, but my latest fixation is AI generated videos. Mind blown. Oh my god. I saw a few at the film festival, which were just so fucking good. I was mesmerized. And some on Instagram, which I'm just like, what, how, what, how, what, and how? And you have no answers. There's no answers. It's like, I still don't know. Someone tell me.
I love like our mutual friend Justin Dormitzer. I mean, I'm sure like it's a term that's just used, but I feel like it like first struck me when he said it was like, I think he referred to it as like AI hallucinations.
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah,
Very
that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to learn more about it, and I feel like it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
I tried researching it, and I still have no answers. No idea. But I'm into it. I love it. I feel like it's like poetic and like very cool, because I've also seen ones like AI generated videos that are narrative, and then some that are just like visual vomit. Yeah, I don't know. That's my latest, and I'm still in it. I'm still trying to figure out like how can I make it. Yeah,
because I feel like it's tricky. It's like I love it. It's so cool. It can be so cool. But then I'm just like, but like, what is this? Whose is this really? You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Where's it coming from?
that's, you know, I mean, it's not like we're saying anything groundbreaking here, but it's like, what's the deal with AI?
Yeah.
You know, like what is it?
Yeah.
Do we like it? Do we hate it?
Yeah.
Do we accept it as an art form? I mean, only time will tell. You know, I think I don't think we have to, I guess, have all the answers now.
Yeah.
It's like
Totally.
you're drawn to what you're drawn to about it, and there's things that you don't like about it or whatever, and you just lean into the things that you think are cool.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of like a tool, and I guess what strikes me when I see the things is like, well, for me in my brain, I'm like, how is that made? Because that's like, I know that it's prompts, right? Everyone's like, oh, you write a prompt and it spits it out. But it's like the art I'm seeing are not just prompts. They're prompts maybe compiled or like really like formed in a way that it's a fucking art piece. Like, what do you mean? Of course it's a prompt. But like it's an intentional one and sculpted. Maybe, okay, it's sculpted with my mouth and like someone else's artwork. No, it's not though. It's not. It's morphed. It's morphed.
I don't know if I
know.
I don't know if I agree with my own opinion here, but like just to talk about
Me
like,
neither.
it being formed from other people's art. I mean, that's
Yes.
That happens.
Well, that's kind of
anyway.
why. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I forgot what the whole concept of before was like. No idea is original, right? But it's again like I don't know how it's made, so I don't know how it's made. Period. So that's kind of where I'm at. I want to know how it's made, and then maybe we can circle back to that if it's okay.
6? Question 6.
Oh my god.
What is your greatest extravagance?
I think enjoying going out to eat and dining. I feel like living in New York City, like that's just what we do casually all the time. Like I will not think twice about a $20 cocktail, but I will think twice about a $20 anything else. You know, like, oh my God, that's $20. Absolutely not.
Yes.
Meanwhile, here I am drinking 3 of them in an hour. Like,
But it's more, I think maybe like $20 on a cocktail versus maybe, I don't know, $20 on
a shirt.
a shirt.
If I see a shirt in a thrift store that's $20, I'm like,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you have to second guess it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Which I will wear for a long time or multiple times, as many times as I want. Whereas the cocktail, I'm just.
But I think that like with the cocktail, I mean, like it's more than just the cocktail. You're
It
having
is.
an experience.
Exactly. You're
Having a
right.
time.
It's an art. Cocktails
Yes.
are crafts.
That too.
So, and dining, you're right. Experience.
Yeah.
And moments.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Number 7, where would you like to live? Which I think I know the answer to.
What is it?
Hawaii.
Yeah! Yeah, my dream is a bungalow
Oh,
in fucking Hawaii. I don't want some fancy shit. I want a little shacky shack bungalow on Hawaii and just surf and make short films all day long and eat fucking fruits and poke. That's it. Call it a day. And have weirdo animation short films coming out of there. It's my dream.
I went to Hawaii for the first time this year and I loved it. I went to Maui. I was like, I would like to live here.
Right?
I love the idea of just like living right on the beach.
Yeah.
But also what you said, like it doesn't have to be fancy. It's just like you can just like, because I mean we lived in just like an apartment. We were living in like an Airbnb, which apparently I guess
exactly.
Airbnbs aren't gonna maybe exist in Maui anymore, which is fine. I appreciate it, but we got like one of the last ones.
Wow.
And
Good for them.
and it was just like somebody's like apartment, you know. So it was just like this would just be so nice, you know what I mean? And then. It's not even like we were on a nice beach. It wasn't really like a swimmable beach, but it's just like nice to like go for a walk in the morning, go for a walk in the evening, watch the sunset.
Just be near there.
Yeah.
It's just it's like, I don't know, your brain changes when you're there.
Like there's got to be a place for me in animation in Hawaii.
Yes.
Because it's like, I've never seen much of Hawaii in the animation conversation.
Nope.
So
0.
There's a hole in the market.
Yes.
We
Let's
gotta
fulfill
figure it out.
Fill that gap. Where are you based?
Our film festival. Kristie and I talk a lot about a film festival.
I always think about it.
I do too. I was actually
really
thinking about it today. I was. Number 8. What character from an animation do you relate to the most?
Oh my God, so many things came to mind. I'll just name them. Courage the Cowardly Dog came to mind because he's like scared but still does it all. Still fucking does it and is the fucking hero. The second thing that came to mind was Princess Mononoke. Mainly because of like the nature versus man thing. I feel like that's like a big underlying piece in my work. She's a champion for nature. The third that came to mind was Daria, but like less. I mean, maybe tone sometimes. And the fourth that came to mind was Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls. So lame. Yeah, because she's spunky and like a bitch.
Number 9.
Wow.
What is the horniest animation?
Big Mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Mouth. So horny. So good and so funny. I fucking love that show. But my jaw dropped at how fucking raunchy it is. I'm like, oh my god, this is on Netflix? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like supposed to be kids. Like, I mean, not really kids. Kind of, yeah, kids. They're like 13. I'm like, oh my god, I was not this horny at 13.
I'll be honest. I know. I'm obviously familiar with them. I've seen clips, but I've not like watched it fully. But like, who is the audience for? Like teenagers and above, or do you think it's for adults?
Full on adults. It's for adults. It's only funny because it's for adults. And it's like, oh, they're kids and they don't know what sex is. And they're discovering it. But in the funniest way. It's so fucking good. And so it's brilliant, actually. Like, the characters are so... It's all Nick Kroll. He's hysterical and so funny. I fucking love that show. It's the horniest show I've ever seen. Yeah.
Number 10.
Wow.
When were you the most drunk or high?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I mean, definitely in my 20s. No. Shit. Yeah, I guess one of my 20s. I was a bartender in college. In the East Village. I was an East Village fucking rat in college. And I would just get so drunk all the fucking time. That's just the industry. It's like a black hole. And I understand why people are in it for so long. Because you're making good money. And you're having so much fucking fun. All day long. Into the night. Where you don't go home yet. And you continue to hang out. It's crazy. So yeah, generally, that was it.
No specific time, just that period of your
My
life.
20s. Yep. Hey, oh, you want one time?
It's whatever you want to share.
That's it.
That's all good.
That's the one.
11. What's your favorite feature animated film?
Fantastic Planet. I remember seeing when I was like 8 or very young, where I was ridden with anxiety. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's very adult.
Yes, my crazy family were like, watch this. They made me watch. They took me to watch Kill Bill in the theaters. Like,
I had a similar thing where like my parents would just bring home whatever movies they wanted to watch.
Exactly.
And then I would just be there and they'd
Yep.
be like, that's fine.
Yep.
I mean, I'm like, they would cover my eyes for certain things,
Right.
but like, I mean, it's like I'm getting the gist of the film.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. No, as kids, I think like the weird, not weird, but yeah, weird anxiety, like high tension films, like. I don't know, they like, I liked it. I was like, why do I feel a little uncomfortable? I'm into it. Yeah, like these disturbed, dark, borderline horror things. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm glad that my parents didn't
Me too.
censor that
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
you know?
same. I'm glad we were exposed to it younger. I don't know. I think it opened up our minds more.
I didn't see Fantastic Planet until I was an adult. I was in my early 20s.
Nice.
And I think I probably watched it stoned.
Yeah, definitely. But it's, well, now at this point, it's a cult classic, and now even they play it at like bars. There was this one, I forget the bar, but they screened it, but also did a live raga session where there was like a sitar player, tablas, and they played it over the score, which, I mean, I love. I think his name is Alan Gorgamain. I'm butchering that name. Alain. I'm even butchering him more. But he's the soundtrack, and I remember this was maybe one of the most stoned moments of my life where I literally, me and one of my good friends, played the soundtrack and just got super high and just laid down. And it was so fucking good. The music was so fucking good. But yeah, it's a cult classic. They play it in bars now.
Question 12. What's your favorite short animated film?
Okay, the first one that does come to mind is Throat Notes by Felix Colgrave.
I don't think I've seen that. Do you want?
Yes, you have. Don't kill it. I know you have.
Maybe. What's it? What? Give me a synopsis.
Okay, there's no dialogue. it's basically just like a scene in nature where it's just like all these like animals and creatures living in this like ecosystem environment, and like there's even a human involved, like killing the bugs or like whatever. He's like a farmer, and that's it. There's like no really. It's just like that one of the animals coughs up like a thing, and then it's a sound that emerges from the bubble that it coughs up.
I'm looking at the images. I don't think I've seen it.
No way. Oh my god, he's one of my favorite
I see
animators.
so many frogs. I love it.
I know, yeah. You gotta watch it. I'll send it to you.
13. When did you feel most discouraged about pursuing your creative path?
Ooh. I mean, definitely the pandemic, when everyone else was also. But I was like thinking about my history, my job history, and how it was just freelancing with these 2 studios, and the work I had under my belt was such shit. I was like, I'm not even good. Like, I'm not cool. Like, oh, by the way, I started as a motion graphics designer. And so even my animation wasn't even fully developed. I was just designing for motion and doing basic like graphics, like lower thirds and stuff. So I was feeling super discouraged. I was like, I suck. There's no jobs. And yeah, that's when I kind of took the leap and applied for grad school to kind of just get more cooler personal work out there and like made.
When did you start school? I forget. Grad school.
Grad school I started right out the pandemic, so 2021. Yeah, I applied in 2020, kind of just like bouncing off of what I just mentioned. I was like, let's just see what I get. I wasn't even like fully trying to go because I'm broke. And I was like, there's just absolutely no way I could afford this. If I apply, maybe I'll get scholarship. And so that's kind of how I started.
You started in 2021. So what was because I'm blanking, even though I was there. What was your learning experience during that first year? Because I know the second year, because I was, with you, that like our first semester together, we were masked still, but we were at least like back in person fully.
Yeah.
And then the second semester was normal.
Yeah.
But the first year probably was still weird.
Uh-huh. Totally. It really was. Everyone was wearing masks. Everyone go home. There was no events. There was like no mixers. There was none of that. But it was still awesome. Like the work still was there. I think it allowed me to really do the work instead of like fuck around. So it was all good and it was all aligned. And without the pandemic, I wouldn't have applied. So who knows? So
yeah, I noticed a trend. It's like I feel like before the pandemic, there's a lot of people who were just like, I want to work at the big studios, and that was the majority of the goal of our student body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, it was like everybody wants to do like weird shit, and I was like, I think it's like there's just this interest in like. Or this, like a reckoning of just being like, hey, like, maybe I'm doing something I don't like, and I'm like, I'm doing things for the wrong reasons, and it's like, I want to do something that I'm interested in.
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you think that is still the case now? Because weirdly, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, no.
Like, what?
Yeah. I feel like there's less of like, it was like very, like beforehand, it was very overwhelmingly like, I'm just looking to get a job at a major studio. Now I feel like there's a lot more like of a gradient of what people are interested in.
I agree.
Which is excellent, I think. Yeah.
I think, I will say though, if there's any advice I'm giving anyone, is to stick to your fucking like own shit and listen to yourself. Like, be weird and make ugly.
Number 14. When was the first time you got paid to animate?
Ooh. Well, my cousin / role model is, she is an amazing motion graphics designer, artist. She's a beast at what she does. Untouchable. Truly the best I've ever seen. And she basically taught me everything. Before I even wanted to animate, I was like, I want to work for you. I want to get you coffee. I was like, I'll be your little slave. Like, as an intern, like I was so young. I was like, give me my first job. And so she did. She started her own studio, which was just herself. And
What's it called?
It's called Motion Sickness. So it was just her. And then she moved back to New York from LA, fully did Motion Sickness, and hired me as her intern, where I was literally just cutting out things in Photoshop, like doing things. That's when she taught me kind of how to learn how to animate. And yeah, that's exactly how I learned. And she started paying me good. And then I became her designer, where I would design everything that she would animate. And yeah, and then I just started animating myself.
15. What characteristic are you most drawn to in other people?
Funniness. I freaking love a funny person. I feel like it's rare. People don't make me laugh. People say stupid shit all the time. And I sick of it. Like a genuinely funny, clever, smart, funny person. Love you.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I meet somebody new, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not excited about it or whatever. And then they'll just throw something out there that I'm not expecting. And I'm just like, whoa. Yes, I like you.
Yeah. Caught me off guard. Yeah, unpredictable maybe. Yeah.
Number 16. What's something you believe to be overrated?
Overrated? The bear?
The show?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but that's kind of a joke. I don't really think that much about the bear. I didn't watch a new season. I think it's highly overrated for sure. But generally, I'm just laughing at what's coming to my brain.
What's coming to your brain?
3D animation. Just kidding.
What do you think about Jeremy Allen White?
I mean, yeah, he's hot. I like weird looking dudes like that. Yeah, he's super hot, but apparently he's canceled.
Why? No.
Yes, he's one of those who, as soon as he had a lifelong girlfriend with kids, as soon as you get hot and famous, goodbye. Yeah,
that's not cancelable.
I don't think so either.
No.
They're
no, people are just mad. I mean, who knows?
Not us defending this man.
Well, I'm saying that I know enough to know that it's probably more complicated than that. We can't make that assumption about his mind or their 100%. Relationship.
I'm with you.
So
with you, totally.
God bless Jeremy Allen White.
Relax.
17. What's something that you believe to be underrated?
I really enjoyed Eric on Netflix with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, I don't know that.
I really liked it. People don't seem to like it as much as I do, so maybe that is underrated.
Perfect. That's the definition of underrated.
I really like that one. I keep thinking about it.
What's it about?
It's basically a true crime kind of mystery about this guy who runs a puppet show on TV, kind of like Sesame Street, and his son goes missing. And so basically, he kind of uses the show, his artistry, to try to get his son back. Meanwhile, it's who took his son? It's in New York City also. So it's super cool. I really, really liked it. It's a full circle kind of situation, and there's really cool, I guess it's animation. It might be CG. Yeah, I think it's a 3D, animation mixed with live action. So good. I really like that aspect. Yeah.
How many seasons?
It's just one.
Oh, wow.
And it's a full,
it's perfect.
Perfect, great soundtrack. He did amazing acting. He's so freaking good. He plays this almost kind of mentally unhinged guy, but he's a brilliant artist. And so half the time everyone's like, oh, he's crazy. He lost his mind. But it's like, no. It's very good. I really enjoyed that one.
All right. 18. Do you have any regrets?
Regrets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aww.
No regrets. I lived my whole life, no regrets, until my wedding.
Why?
My one regret is not inviting everyone I wanted to.
Aww.
Truly. Not just saying that, India, who is one of my best friends who didn't get invited to my wedding. Love you. No, but seriously. Seriously that. Like, it was about, obviously, the money, but I just would have rather have just spent the fucking money and have everyone I truly wanted there. It's bullshit. Also, like, I think, as being me, who one, never wanted to ever get married, two, ever have a fucking wedding, it was very, like, a weird thing to wrap my brain and wallet around. It's almost just like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't need to do this. But after doing it, I'm like, well, I wish these people were here. I think also because it was so amazing and and my dream come true, that it's like, fuck, they should have been there.
I mean, from what I've heard from other married people, it sounds like the wedding's like, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to get it right. You know what I mean? There's always like, there's so many external influences.
Exactly.
Whether it be people in your life or just things that are just beyond your control, period.
Exactly, yes.
And it just seems like it's hard to know exactly what you want in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be hard. So
Yeah.
it looked like you guys had a wonderful time. It looks like you had your oldest friends there.
Yeah.
And that's so special, you know.
Exactly,
And your
like-
family, of course.
Yeah, family kind of took priority, which obviously didn't suck, but but like there was some family that didn't even make the cut, which is insane. That's fucked up. Should have just invited them.
Have another party.
Yeah,
Invite everybody.
yeah.
Be like, oh, your 1 year anniversary. Just be like, big
Oh,
party.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, that's a good
That'd be
idea.
fun. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And then there's less like pomp and circumstance. It's more just about like having people come together. 19. What talent would you most like to have?
The drums. I want to be better drummer.
Aren't you a drummer? You're a drummer.
Yeah,
Which is something we've never talked about.
I know.
But I feel like we both know that like I know you're a drummer and I feel like you know I'm a drummer, but we've never talked about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I have like imposter syndrome with it.
I do too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I suck.
When did you get into it?
I got into it when I was really young. My dad is a professional drummer. My first boyfriend was a super professional drummer, and I kind of, after like him, I kind of just picked it up myself, and it kind of just came super natural. I realized like I was only listening to the drums in songs, and I'm like playing along with it. I'm like, so I just did it, and I just want to be really good, and I'm not.
I've seen video of you doing it, and I mean, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Because like I think where I struggle, so like I went the other route where I actually took lessons and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So like it was more like, it sounds like you had more of an instinct for it, where like I was just kind of like, I want to play the drums. I'm the drummer now. You know what I mean? And like I took lessons. I was probably, I'm trying to think of how. I must have been like in middle school.
I'm sick.
And then when it came to like having to learn, like be with like a group, I would get like nervous.
Same. I can't play in front of people.
I didn't want to like be too flashy or anything, you know.
Yes.
But it's like you like, that's the point of the drums, is to like be dramatic when the moment calls for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like.
You're kind of like the backbone of the show.
Yeah, you're so important.
Yeah.
So important, but also like you're not in the front.
Yeah.
I feel like you, from what I've seen, you have more, like I feel more rigid. Like you feel more like free, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's what you need.
It's also a release. Like, it's like, ugh, it feels so good. Just fucking let it out. Yeah. It's hard though. Like, I want to be better. I want to be better and like fucking rip. Not be scared to play in front of people. Even if my dad's down there, I'm like, go away. Get out of here. I'll literally wait until he's gone.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
The last time that I got like into it was during the pandemic because I was staying with my parents.
Nice. Yeah.
So then like my my dad like reconnected with an old like bandmate of his. So we would go to his house and he had a barn. So because we were concerned about COVID, obviously. So we had a barn where there's like so much like airflow, like it was not heated. So we're like wearing like full like coats and stuff like that, playing in like the like this barn together, all like separate from each other.
Oh my god!
But like it was weird, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm glad that we got to do that.
That's so cool.
You know?
Even to just jam with people is like a special like level. Right on. That's my dream. I want to do like the Doors cover band, country cover band.
Oh my god. 20. What's your most life-defining decision?
Ooh, shit. Honestly, it might be grad school. Truly, like, I'm so happy I did it. And it really propelled me. I feel like it fucking launched me into the fucking sky. I would think I was like crawling on the street. And it really just boosted me. And in so many different ways too. Like meeting new people, like learning the skills I learned there. Creative coding, which I did a weird installations for that are like doing things too. My film, it made me make this film, which I would have never made. Yeah, I really think that was a life-defining. I remember thinking too, I'm like, oh, holy shit, I finally found the path that I fucking love, and that I'm literally I'm doing it. I feel like that's kind of where everyone gets either stuck on, where they become depressed and anxious their entire lives because they're lost and still searching. Even like 30-something, 30 on, still struggle with that. I know so many people who still don't know what the fuck they want to do with their lives. And I feel so bad for them because I know what that's like. I've been there, and I really feel like going to grad school for this super specific skill really defined my path and carve that path for me.
Love it.
Love it. Obsessed.
Great.
Obsessed. You know I'm obsessed.
Great testimonial for
Oh my god.
SVA MFA Computer Arts.
Not a sponsored app.
21. When was the last time you lied?
I try not to lie at all. Ever. I fucking hate liars.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good job. You're good.
I had the reverse.
Good human being.
Thank you.
Who's the last person that lied to you?
No, I had the reverse where I didn't lie and people gaslit me into like, oh, I should have lied. Yeah.
Do you want to share?
Sure. I'll make it quick because it's so silly. Our friend was his like 40th birthday. So it was like a big deal. It's a milestone. He's like, oh, it's our very close friend group. And he's like, I made reservation for us, the 8 of us, at this restaurant. I won't name it. And I kept my mouth shut because I was like, it's whatever he wants to do, blah, blah, blah. However, I just went there and it was mediocre and it was very expensive. And I'm sitting on it and I'm like, I really want to let him do whatever he wants, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't hold it in. I was like, if it was me, I would be fucking pissed if I spent my 40th birthday at a fucking mediocre restaurant. So I said, I was like, hey, so I actually just went there recently. And they're like, oh, how was it? And I was like, I was so nice about it. I was like, I think we could do better, but I think it's going to be great.
I love it.
It's like sugar-coated, but also like, they all took shits on my face. they were like, wow. They're like, oh, how are you going to ruin the birthday plan? Blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God. And then the birthday boy was like, thank you for the honesty. So then we took a whole nother like 5 days scrambling, looking for another place. And I'm just like,
That's like fine.
they shot at me. They kept making jokes. I mean, it was jokes. It was all a joke. But I was really like, oh my God. Like, bro, like, relax. Like, you guys really wanted to go spend $200 at this mediocre place for this guy's 40th birthday? I would not let my friend do that. I'm the good person here. So, yeah. Right? Like, you're welcome, actually.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
But yeah, they gaslit me.
22. I left this question in for you specifically because I thought that you would have an interesting answer.
Oh.
It's very specific. You could be a sea creature. What would you be?
I always thought my spirit animal was a whale. Always. I used to have dreams being a whale. Kind of weird.
I would have thought a crab.
I know. Yeah, no. They're cockroaches. Cockroaches are fucking crab. I mean, yeah. They're sea cockroaches. But yeah, I always thought I was a whale. But now, I don't know. Maybe I'm an octopus.
Cool.
I love them.
They're very intelligent.
Yes. I feel like they're aliens for sure.
Yeah.
Full on. I stopped eating them. I know.
I probably haven't had one in a long time.
Yeah. Like if it's not a must or required or something, I won't.
Yeah, I think like that's like the situation I would have to be in, where it's like it has to be.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
know where it's good. Like I probably wouldn't get octopus in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In New York
no.
City, because it's like, where'd it come from?
Where it come
the fuck
from?
is
Hit
it?
or miss. Not worth it. Yeah.
It's like it'll be good, but will it be like incredible? Probably not. And it's not worth killing such a smart little guy. You know?
Yeah. I also saw that You saw that documentary, right? My octopus friend
no,
or
I
whatever.
did not,
it's
and I
called.
will not.
Don't.
I won't.
I mean, you would love it.
I
You'll
would
cry.
love
You'll
it, but
cry.
I would be ruined. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
But maybe you should.
This is your surprise question.
Oh.
It's a little serious.
Is this 23?
This is 23.
Okay.
We're almost done. And we kind of touched on it earlier, but I guess if you want to like expand on it more, as someone who's like in the animation industry, like proper animation industry, like you work for Nickelodeon, what is your honest opinion of the future of mainstream animated content, taking into mind the COVID bubble that's kind of burst at this point? Like there's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of just disruption, you know, with regards to staffing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of hiring happening maybe right now.
Right.
And also artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Loaded question. What's the question?
What's the future of mainstream animated content?
Okay.
Taking into consideration.
Wow. Actually, I like this question because I feel like I see where it's going. I really feel like the future of commercial animation is a hybrid of all fucking animation. It's good for me because I'm mixed media animation, but I really think it's a combo of 2D, 3D, AI, CG, all of it. I really do. Motion graphics for sure. Also because you can see now, it's the start of it. The start of it is slowly integrating 3D into 2D. I feel like a lot of companies are going for that look. An example I'll mention from Nickelodeon, because I work with them, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They redid their show. Actually, I think they did the movie. Yeah, I think they might be making a show because of the movie, but it was a feature length. Did you see it?
I didn't, but I saw clips of it, and it looked really cool,
Yeah.
and I heard only, like, great things.
Yeah, I was mind blown by the animation. I thought it was amazing. But that's my personal taste. So, but it's 3D. It's fucking all 3D, made to look 2D, which almost makes me sick to my stomach. Because it's like 3D people think they're like better than 2D animators. They do. They think they're a little snobby, and so it's like you're making all these 3D models, animating them, and then you're putting something on top that makes it 2D. I get it. It looks sick. I'm a fan. I love it, but I think that's the future. So basically, just a hybrid of all of it. That's, I think, the future. But then it's like, are you just circling back to like old school animation? You know, it's kind of like cycles, like in fashion and like all types of culture kind of circles back to vintage stuff, vintage work. So,
Well, definitely, like, as far as like millennials are concerned, you're a millennial?
I'm a millennial.
We're like at the point where it's like we're the ones that can start having influence over culture. And we like millennials, but everybody loves nostalgia, you know what I mean? So then I do feel like as far as like animated shows are concerned, they're all 2D.
Yeah.
You know, and
my favorite shows are
weird. They're
Yep.
weird. And like, I mean, you've heard of like millennial humor, where it's like this absurdist kind of humor, like like I mean, as like a peak example being like Tim Robinson's show. You know what I'm talking about? I Think You Should Leave, which I've heard some very interesting theories as to why like our brains appeal, like our.
Ooh.
It's like something about like Bush era America.
Oh God!
And just that there was a lot of absurdity. So then there's something about absurdity that we really
Interesting.
enjoy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know. So yeah, like I feel like 2D.
I feel like it's a hybrid. My answer is that I think it's a hybrid of a lot of it. But then it's like, is that a trend? I don't know. I know everything for a moment at least was all 3D for a second. Everything was like 3D. Even my job was like, you have to learn 3D. And I was like, fuck. I don't wanna. I tried it. I did fucking try it. And I was like, this doesn't feel, not that it doesn't feel creative, but it definitely is a different mentality. Different approach, at least, like, to an artistic, like, outlet. I'm not into it. But I want to be. Like, I feel like I have to be in some ways. But yeah, I feel like that's where everything is going. Even motion graphics wise, it's like a lot of 3D shit. Like the motion of it too is very 3D shapes and like movements, cameras.
3D can be cool.
Yeah, totally.
It can be very cool.
Yeah.
Something that not to bring up so much Bill Clinton in this
They love Bill.
conversation. I really enjoyed his master talk. I think he gave great advice. He was like, if you want to have a successful film, he said, make it funny, make it cheap. There was a third thing. I don't remember what the third thing was. I took a photo. Wait, I don't have my work phone with me. Whatever it was simple, but he was just, and he gave like really good reasons for everything. So like making it funny.
Cool.
He was like, people when they see animation for whatever reason, whether you agree with it or not, they want to laugh.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's just his approach. And I was like, I appreciate that. I love that. You know what I mean? It's like no matter what people, and it's like I feel that way when I see stuff more often than not. I just want to laugh.
Yeah.
I just want to laugh.
Yeah.
We talked about it already. It's like I just want to laugh.
Yeah.
You know.
And actually, Terrence said that. I think he was like, it's harder to make someone laugh than cry, which I always remembered in my like whole fucking life. But
and then making it cheap. Again, I think it's a complicated thing, but
Oh, okay. So it's make it funny, make it cheap, make it short.
Oh, I love
think
that.
short was the other one.
I love that. I feel like that's his book title.
Maybe. It's good advice, honestly.
It is. I like it. Let's say it again.
Make it funny, make it cheap, make it short. Because the film, so this, he was giving this anecdote of like he was up for an Oscar for this film, which was all those three things. And then there was this other, the film that ended up winning. This was, I mean, I'm kind of like spoiling, I guess, the way he told it. The film that ended up winning was this 20-minute documentary that was very serious. It was 3D animated, and it was a documentary about this artist who was a drug addict, and he was like, it was an incredible film. It was heart-wrenching. It deserved the Oscar. He was like, the problem is, even though it won the Oscar, nobody wanted to fund this film. It was long, it was expensive because it was 3D, and it wasn't funny. It was sad, you know? Nobody wanted to fund or distribute this film after the fact.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's a different conversation.
So he put, like, it's like it was successful. It's almost like the film was critically successful, but not commercially successful. You know what I mean? And it's like he put in very stark contrast, like, what his dogma is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of saying like, okay, like it went places after being nominated for an Oscar or whatever. This film that won the Oscar didn't. It didn't go anywhere. Who knows about this film? I didn't know the filmmaker. I didn't know the film. I did talk to somebody about it afterwards and they were familiar with the film, but it's like, you know what I mean? I know who Bill Plimpton is. I don't know who this other guy is.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's just like, it was a very dramatic example.
Wait, what is it? Short, cheap, not funny. Funny.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think about, what's her name? Savini. She's very SVA heavy. Her name's crazy. But she's a fucking amazing animator.
She just did the feature length.
Yep. The Something of Marriage.
I'm blanking on her name.
I know, it's a gnarly one.
Balmain is her last name.
Really? Then it's Sigourney Weaver. Savini.
I'm blanking.
Anyway.
Balmain is her last name.
Yeah.
She's
incredible. We'll weave it in.
And they're good friends.
Interesting. Well, her work is the complete opposite. It's not short. It's long as fuck.
But she has a lot of short films.
Okay, well then I'm thinking about her. I've only seen her feature. And it's not short. It's not funny. I mean, it's a little funny. But it's kind of dark.
It's such a dark.
It's like satirical. But it's all like, it's heavy. It's like, oh, fuck. And what's the other one? Not cheap. I don't know if it's cheap. I don't know how much it costs.
But it's 2D.
I know she has a team.
I know that like Bill Plimpton was talking specifically about 2D versus 3D. Like in 3D is more expensive. So I think like he was making the distinction there, you know. But yeah, I'm sure. Signe.
Yes.
Signe.
Yes. We got there.
We got it.
Signa.
Yeah, Signe. Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
Amazing queen. Fucking love her. Yeah, she's awesome. Ugh. There's so many fucking sick New York animators that I'm like, even when I see them in real life, I'm such a pussy. I'm like, I can't talk to them.
Like who?
Even Michael too. He was like, one of them is being Amanda Buonito.
Oh yeah,
Buonudo.
Wait, was she there at Wawa?
She's been to Animation Speakeasy.
Yes, yeah.
And he was saying, like, I was so intrigued, like, I couldn't even speak to her. I feel like everyone, Lisa, who runs Animation Speakeasy, picks such fucking sick animators that are New York locals that I'm, like, too scared to approach, too. Even Anna Samo, like, I've met her, like, so many times at this point. She knows me at this point. Like, she's even taught a workshop where I was in. She fucking knows me, and I'm just like, hi. gotta go. Like, I forget what it was. I went to something and they all invite you. She was there and you invited me to hang out and I was like, no, I gotta go. I did have to go, but like,
You did.
I could have, like, no, I really couldn't, but like, I could have a little bit. It was pussy, I was scared.
That was your Cancer.
Yeah. That's my Cancer / imposter syndrome.
That's where you're like, I have to go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that one. Add that one, number 3. It's the third circumstance.
Yes. Hysterical.
Damn it.
I like her.
She's brilliant. They did a really, like, her and Lisa did this really crazy experimental animation class that I was in, and it was so outside of the box.
I was blind, right?
Yes, they made us do these physical like things and then animate like with these physical constraints.
Yeah.
And it was so fucking cool. And they were like, trust it, trust the process, trust about you'll be surprised what you see when you take your fucking blindfolds off. And it was so cool. But just like what she was saying, she was guiding us through the whole thing while Lisa was like doing the physical like things. She was like almost like guided meditation almost. And it was so fucking cool. Like she was saying like, think about this and just keep drawing. Think about this. You're here. You're there. And I'm just like, this is insane.
And definitely when I think of like that class, one of my favorite things that like Lisa shared with me was that animation. Like, and like that's the one that I think of is like when I think of that class is like the blind animation, the one that you guys did with you couldn't see what the fuck you were doing. And it's like it was cohesive somehow.
Yeah. And somehow we made the sickest shit ever.
It was so cool.
So fucking cool. I'm like, what? And they gave us like a starting idea to, like, so it's not like you're just pulling anything out of your ass. You're like, no, think of this. Think of a place, I forget what it was. I think it was like where you're most calm and most serene, something like that. But that's what I imagined, like animation, like experimental animation to be. I don't know, so cool.
Okay. Last question. What do you want to plug?
There's a few things I could plug. But the main thing is, of course, Mother's Milk. That's kind of where all my creative focus is going. It is animation.
It is animation.
It's a lot of motion graphics and brand design, and it's just design in general.
Everything is animation.
Period.
Everything's animation.
Everything is animation. Honestly, not moving forward, always. Every time I see something, I'm like, but imagine if that was animated.
No. Okay. Did you go to the Whitney Biennial this year?
Oh, not yet.
There's this thing at the end. There are these 2 humongous paintings, and they're gorgeous. I loved them. But it's like, I looked at them and I was like, could have been a cooler animated film. You know? Like, I have this problem where I look at stuff, and I've said this to people, and I'm just like, why paint when you can animate?
Yep. I tell people that all the time. We should animate that.
Yes. It's like, it's true.
You know what comes to mind? This is something no one fucking knows about me. I have a double black belt.
Amazing. Like what, karate or what?
In JKD Jeet Kune Do, which is basically Bruce Lee's mixed martial arts. It's basically kickboxing. Yeah, sick. No one knows that. The world knows it now. But the saying that was on the wall of my school was, a white belt is a black belt who never gave up. And I don't know why that just came to mind when you just said this story, but what comes to mind is a painter is an animator that never stops.
I agree.
Painting.
Yes. I hate it.
You know what I mean?
But I kind of am just like, okay, it's cool that you painted something, but what about painting it 24 times per second?
And the little difference, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then that times, can't do math anymore. Fuck math. Just animate. Period.
That's a great place to end it.
I think that's a good wrap around.
And you plugged.
Oh yeah.
You plugged Mother's Milk. Mother's
Okay,
Milk.
did. Mug is mug.
Mugger's Milk. Follow them. Follow them at Drink Mugger's Milk.
Stop it. Stop it. You can't.
Drink Mother's Milk. At Drinks Mother's Milk.
That's still wrong.
It's not Drink Mother's Milk.
Okay, yes, the plug. Okay, my plug is follow Drink Mother's Milk. Yes. On Instagram. We're pioneering the conscious drinking community. It's a healthy alternative drinking alternative.
Yeah. Hydrate while you dehydrate.
Hydrate while turn up. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Animator's Friend. This podcast was recorded and edited by India Lombardi Bello and produced in part with facilities provided by SVA MFA Computer Arts. Music by Crank and Cloutmeyer Evans. Design and branding by Sawyer Rippon. I want to give special thanks to my parents, Mick Bello and Lisa Lombardi Bello, Sam Gray, Darren Santamaria, Bethia Feldman, Connor and Caitlin Olcott, Lottie Marie Allen, Michael Dundero, Lila Milgram, Nisha Savage, and of course, my very first guest ever, Kristie Kish. Please tune in again next time.